Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this week's video, we are going to take a look at the new Beatbreaker plugin from the Logic 10.8 update and 3 ways that I use it, and maybe you can draw inspiration from this within your tracks, and each of them sound like this. So first up, we are going to look at sidechain. So sidechain compression, but for this there's no compression, so it's just a sidechain gate sort of thing. So I have a couple of tracks here just ready to go. We have this one here, which is just a very sustained note. So I've also put these two, let's get rid of this one. Don't want to mess it up. So this is going to be before the plugin, and then this one's going to be after. Kind of give us a visual representation of what's going on. So let's come along here, and we're going to add the Beatbreaker. And then within the Beatbreaker, I'm just going to go through some of the controls real quick so you can kind of understand if you're watching at home. So we have the time, and then this is going to you can drag these to play sections of audio from different parts within that file. So if you have something coming in on the second beat and then you pull that down, you can have it play the start of the sample again. So it's just a good way that you can mix and match and kind of just play around and get some good results, some happy accents and whatnot. And we'll look at this a little bit more when we start to incorporate some drum loops and stuff like that. You've got the repeat. Obviously what it says, you'll just repeat that section. So we can drag up to increase the repeats and whatnot. And then volume, again, pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to be the volume for that section. And with that, you can add like little slopes in there, and you can also do curves. So if you want it to slowly go down as opposed to just a straight line down. So let's set this back to 0. So within the plugin, there are some awesome presets, but I'm not quite sure what Apple had going on, because some of them are just so crazy that maybe a little bit unusable. Well, I found that they were unusable, but it gave me a good idea of what's going on. So let's go in here, and then we can go basic, and then they have sidechain. And I don't know about you, but when I'm doing a sidechain, I'm not really looking for the volume to go down to 0. And as you can see here, they got it to 0. So this, again, this would be before the plugin, through the plugin, and then this is be after. So let's play a little example. So this is like really, really heavy compression going on. Well, not compression, but gating. So let's initialize, and then we're going to set this to 1 beat. So as it goes through, it's just going to be, each beat will be through there. So these are little anchors, and you can see it has the timing down the bottom. So let's get rid of all of these. And then we want to go to volume, and then we want to select the actual part. So when you select it, you can see that we get these options just up here. So from here, I just want a nice gradual little bit of gating, sidechain, whatnot. So let's get a little slope. And I don't want it to be down to 0. Let's go to 18. So here we get that really sucking sound now. But obviously that is kind of a lot of sidechaining going on. So what we can do is we can add this curve, and then that kind of starts to bring up the volume, and you're not getting that such a crazy ramp. It's going to be a little bit, and then it's going to pick up the volume a lot more. So you can see it's still a lot there. So what we can do is we can and just play around, maybe get a little bit more of a slope there. Sorry, a curve. And let's increase this down to. And then if we play it with some drums, so we've got the idea of what's going on here now. If we play it with some drums. And now this is where we can start to like really dial it in. And there we go, super rough. Haven't kind of gone too crazy with it, but you can see there that we've got a little bit more of a smoother sidechain as opposed to having it cut right down to 0 so we get no audio through. So there's one super easy application of the Beat Breaker. I find that this one is a little bit better than the preset sidechain, but I mean, someone might find the other one really useful and then look at what I've done and just go, you absolute bellend, that's super, super stupid. So let's move on to the next. Next up, we are going to look at its application on a drum loop. So for this, I've just got the classic Amen break. And I don't usually work with this much, but I wanted a nice 2-bar section so I could kind of showcase what's going on and whatnot. So again, let's bring in the Beat Breaker. And then as I play the audio, you can see it kind of superimposed behind the bits here, and then you can also see it on the left-hand side. So let's increase this to 8 beats. So we get the full 2 bars over the section. You can see we have the wave file here and behind here. So we can kind of see what's going on. And then with this, what we can do is you can start to add some anchors. So I'm going to add some anchors in there, at some of the drum beats to kind of play around a little bit more. So let's add one here. We've got another hit here. We have another hit here. Another one here. And we'll go one more here. So this gives us a little bit more to play with in terms of being able to push and pull to get different hits on different parts of the loop. So without me sort of waffling on too much, let me show you an example and then we can look at some of the other repeats and stuff like that to vary up and give some more life into the break. So we have this. Maybe we want that hit at the start to play twice. So that's the same hit there being played twice. Do the same here. And I like this hit, so let's pull this down. So we get another snare hit. Cool, so we got a little bit of variation in there. Nothing too crazy. I've just sort of duplicated kicks and some snare hits and whatnot. Next up, let's look at some of the repeat function. So you can see here we have a couple of like I said before, we've got some of the hits happening on the same parts. Now I'm going to start to look at these end sections here and we're going to look at repeating the same hit. So it's kind of the same as if I put the anchor in and just duplicated it, but you can kind of get some more variation. The other thing that I didn't look at is with the time, you can also slow it down and whatnot. So let's just look at a basic operation of just using the repeats. So let's put one here. Got a double snare hit now. And then here, let's mess up with this one. Kind of gets that sort of wavy cymbal hit. Now I like this, but for these two at the end, I want a little volume dip on each of them. So let's go to volume, and then we'll select this one, and then we're going to put a little slope in there, and we'll put a curve in there as well. And then I'm going to do the same on to this one. A little curve. And we can go. So a good way that you can kind of add a little tail on there to sort of fade it out a bit more. So this is just a super basic way to use the Beat Breaker on a break to kind of chop it up and give you some more variation. So lastly, let's look at the Beat Breaker on a vocal. This way we can get, maybe if you've got a singer in, they've recorded a bunch, and then they've had to go away and travel and you can't get them back in the studio again, or if you're using a vocal loop like I am here, this is a way that you can utilize the one loop, the vocal loop, with the Beat Breaker to get a bit more out of the vocal and create some more variations for different sections of the song. So let's add the Beat Breaker in. We got it here again. And like we did before, we can add some more anchors in. So let's change this to 8 beats again. So then we get the full 2 bars over this, the vocal plays over this whole section.
We're hiding from each other's eyes. We're hiding from each other's eyes.
And let's add
We're hiding from
an anchor in here.
We're hiding from each other's eyes.
And then let's add anchors in here. Actually, we'll leave that one free there.
We're hiding from each other's eyes. We're hiding.
So first up, let's look at some repeats to kind of add a little bit more life into it.
We're hiding from each
Add a little repeat in here.
We're hiding from each other's eyes.
And I like this is sort of sustained at the end here, so let's add some more repeats in here.
We're hiding from each other's eyes. We're hiding from.
And you heard that little click there, so we can see if we can increase the D click.
We're hiding from each other's eyes. We're hiding from.
It's got a little bit of a click, but within the, when I play it with the drums, it'll kind of get away with it. And if need be, we can render it, do a little fade at the start and get rid of that. So we've sort of got some good little repeats here. Now let's go over to the time and sort of push and pull the parts around so we can kind of get different bits. Usually I would cut up a vocal, put it to a MIDI track, and then sort of play out the notes to try and get different variations. But this is a good way that we can just put it on there and have a play around.
We're hiding from each other's eyes.
I like that shudder. So
From each other's eyes. We're hiding from each other's eyes.
and this one here, let's
From each other's eyes. We're hiding from each other's eyes.
I like this little bit,
From each other's eyes.
and we can put a little vocal, a little volume on that one. So let's go over to the volume now. And then let's put at the start here, let's fade that in. We can go like that.
We're hiding from each other's eyes. We're hiding
This is that
from
little
each other's eyes.
bit here. So let's put,
From each other's eyes. We're hiding from each other's eyes. We're hiding
and
from each other's
let's kind of go a little bit crazy on these.
hiding from each other's eyes. We're hiding from each other's eyes. We're hiding
And maybe put a little curve on this one.
We're hiding from each other. We're hiding from
Maybe
each
pull this down a little bit more.
We're hiding from each other. We're hiding from each other.
Maybe this one, put a little,
Hiding from each other.
yeah. So you kind of get the idea, just playing around. We're cutting it up into sections, and then it gives you a way to manipulate each section with the volume, the repeats, and then changing the actual timing of it. So if we wanted,
We're hiding from each other. We're hiding from each other.
you can go kind of crazy. To get some crazy things. So if we put it with drums, and you can see there where you can get a lot more length out of a vocal loop, or if you're working with a vocalist, you can kind of get some more variations, especially if you're doing a club edit of a more of a pop track or whatnot. This is a cool little plugin that you can use, and obviously it's free, built in with Logic. And yeah, so that's about it for today. Hopefully you kind of got a bit more of an understanding of the Beatbreaker plugin and how you can use it within your production. And mainly, the big thing is, hopefully this has inspired you to create some music today. Until next time, see you later.